The Department of Child Protective Services has become a protected empire built on taking children and separating families. That caseworkers and social workers are very often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence. They fabricate evidence, and they seek to terminate parental rights unnecessarily. That the separation of families and the snatching of children is growing as the business grows because state and local governments have grown accustomed to having these taxpayer dollars to balance their ever-growing budgets. My report is concerned with the children and parents caught up in legal kidnapping.
Save the baby, save the kids. Have the baby, let it grow, just let it live. Save the baby,
we bring social workers into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children.
And then it appears the Department of Child Safety has lost them.
Don't want the same thing for your seed. How you go and take that life and be back out here on your knees? What if your mama aborted you? How that statement make you feel? You tell me.
When in the last few months, I've done a series of investigations into CPS. Until now, CPS told me they had no comment, but now they are giving us access.
2 Child Protective Service workers are facing charges in the murder of a 3-year-old Detroit boy. Today, it was the state manager's turn to take the stand.
But to me, these numbers seem very alarming. The latest numbers show that in April 2020, the Arizona Department of Child Safety listed 229 runaways and 42 missing children. That totals 271 children that have been taken by the Arizona Department of Child Safety.
Save the baby, save the baby, save the kids. Have the baby, let it grow, just let it live. Save the baby, save the baby, save the kids.
The American Child Protective Services system is in crisis. Parents say that their children were seized by CPS agents who broke into their houses and funneled their children into underground sex slavery.
The story of the battle between a mother and Child Protective Services.
Every person that I spoke to today had a heartbreaking story of how they... Today, a protest outside the Harris County Child Protective Services office.
Further testament to just how many lives have been touched by this little girl.
This is Judge Lois Haight, Rebecca Hardy, and Jill Fannin, the 3 judges that we're here protesting against. These judges are taking children away from their parents. They're allowing perjury in the courtrooms. They've been found guilty of doing this numerous times.
Andrea Wood is the president of the activist group California Family Advocacy.
The counties need the money. I have records of the Contra Costa County saying that they're broke, they're in financial stress, they need money along those lines. And they need to take these children away. So they're actually trying to make false allegations against parents. They're trying to force children under what's called suborned perjury to lie against their parents. It's a criminal racket. It really is. And the courts also then make money on the services that they provide. If they can get the parent to take a parenting class or something of that nature, they get a percentage back of that as well. But the big racket is putting children in foster cares, group homes, and adopting children out. My son, who was taken for a period of time, is now back, was put in a group home where the young children there were offered up to adults for sex, minor children, to adults that wanted to either, come to the property or meet them elsewhere, I guess. And these were, young children. And this is what happens in group homes. They're trafficked to pedophiles. And this is the practice, because selling a child over and over again is just such a lucrative business.
For this documentary, I have obtained a death certificate for a baby girl named Desiree Ramirez in Contra Costa County, California. She died on October 27th, 2018 at the age of 4 months old. She was in CPS custody at the time of her death, living in a foster home. Her social worker, Tasha Mizell, is listed on her death certificate. Her parents sued Contra Costa County, and the lawsuit states the following, quote, "The autopsy revealed that DR, the child, had internal bleeding in her abdominal cavity and bruises to her internal organs and on the back of her head. The coroner listed the cause of death was caused by the heart stop beating or by an abnormal heart rhythm. The latter could not have been a cause because there was no EKG. The child was already dead when emergency personnel arrived at the scene. So think about this. How does a young baby, 4 months old, suffer internal bleeding in her abdominal cavity and bruises to her internal organs and on the back of her head? So with all these questions that are circling around about this girl's death, and I'm revealing this here to the world today, you know what CPS did? They had Desiree Ramirez's body cremated.
CPS took Andrea's children away from her as a part of a plot involving her vindictive neighbor, who became the foster parent of her daughter. Andrea's story echoes the stories of parents around America who say that CPS kidnapped their children and subjected them to pedophilia, drugging, and even death. The social worker who has supervised Andrea's daughter, Ashey Biden, has a criminal record and numerous aliases. Broward Sheriff's Office records show that Ashey Hasina Biden has been known by other names, including Shindana Monique Bell, Shindana Monique Thomas, Ashey Chadi, Donna Monique Thomas, and Corey Bell. On May 27th, 2007, Ashey Biden got arrested and she was charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, disorderly conduct, breach of the peace, resist officer obstruct without violence, and criminal mischief. She assaulted an officer with a deadly weapon in an airport. She has more than one charge on her record. According to sheriff's records, Ashey Biden has a tattoo on her right thigh that says, "She Devil." Confronted with evidence of her criminal past and use of aliases, Ashey Biden threatened Andrea Wood in a text message.
If you address me by any other name other than Ashey Biden, I take that as a threat, verbal abuse, to be inappropriate, to be threatening, and an attempt on your part to intimidate me and children and family services. I have informed you in my previous text of the consequences should you threaten me or call me outside of my legal name. It is your choice to do so or not. Should you choose to do so, the actions stated will be taken.
CPS is well known for hiring criminals. In 2009, the Sacramento Bee identified at least 68 Sacramento County, California CPS workers who had criminal records in that county, but who nevertheless worked with vulnerable minors, oftentimes alone. Social Security money is paying for CPS agents to human traffic kids, courtesy of a law signed by Bill Clinton in 1997 that pays your retirement money to states every time a child is taken from their biological family and adopted out of foster care. Hillarry Clinton spearheaded the passage of the Adoption and Safe Families Act as part of her "It Takes a Village" philosophy of collectivist child raising.
Yes, it takes a village.
In 1977, Hillary Clinton's mentor, Mary Jo Bain, reportedly said,
"In order to raise children with equality, we must take them away from families and communally raise them."
Mary Jo Bain later served in the Bill Clinton administration's Health and Human Services Department, leading the Children and Families Division during the welfare reform push during the period in which Hillary Clinton crafted the Adoption and Safe Families Act. Under the law, states receive Title IV incentive payments from Social Security, originally totaling $4,000 for foster children who get adopted and $6,000 for special needs children who get adopted. Parents automatically lose their custodial rights if a child spends 15 out of 22 months in foster care. Hillarry Clinton called it her proudest work, and she bragged about increasing foster adoptions by 64%.